Hey, what's good, people? This is episode 60. This is Sports Debate Tuesday. And people, the episode starts right now. Oh, I'm all kinds of squared away today. What's up, people? Welcome back. This is episode 60, along with my man Rob. Keep it. McLean. I am Jason DeBias. Thank you for having us in your living room or on your iPhone or iPad. All right, we got a lot to talk about. UFC happened this weekend. Oh my God, UConn. They escaped with their lives. Some people call it a heist. Some people call it that's just the way the game's played. So we're gonna talk a bit about that too. To shame or not to shame, I mean the Nets are stacking the deck. I believe they just signed well, Drummond signed the Lakers. I forgot who they just signed. They just
LaMarcus Aldridge.
oh my goodness. So to shame or not to shame, the Nets stacking the deck, but that's going to be in our one category. Maybe we'll do 1 minute apiece on that. But Rob, first things first. The NFL, the owners are meeting, series of meetings, and they look like they're only a few days away from expanding the NFL season to 17 games. So I guess the question is 17 games necessary? Is it a good idea or a bad idea?
No, I think that, no matter what, that last game of the season, unless they change how they do their scheduling, that last game of the season for a lot of the teams, especially that are playoff bound, they're going to be resting their players. They're it's not necessarily the most impactful game. A lot of the times it is. There's plenty of games where there's great games and great matchups, and you got to win this one to get in the playoffs. So you got to win it to, increase your seeding in the playoffs. But for a majority of the teams, it's a rest game. So to make the 16th game now meaningful and then the 17th game a rest game, I think it's counterproductive overall. But yeah, I mean, it's for money. That's really the basis of it. And some of the guys who make a little bit less money can make a little bit more money. That's all a part of the game. But yeah, it's when you have a long season like this, and then you have a postseason coming after. It just seems counterproductive. You know.
Well, all right. For me, let me talk about some of the pros, and then maybe because I don't really have, I didn't come into this debate with a definitive answer like I usually do. I'm already set in my ways, and then maybe you change my mind or maybe not. So they're getting rid of one preseason game to compensate with that. Maybe they're just going to start the season a week early. I like that. All right, they're gonna play an extra game. You know what? That's extra money on that player contract, right? And a lot of people who may not play that last game, if they're still gonna get paid anyway, right? I mean, you get paid to sit. I mean, you can you have a 53 person roster, but you can only suit up 46. So the 46 that get on that get on the field or get on the sidelines, that's an extra check for them. For the fans. I honestly don't think the seventh game is going to be any more or less exhilarating or how could I what's the word exciting for the fans. I think the fans are just fine with 16 games. I mean, I remember a couple of years ago they were talking about 18 games and everybody was freaking out. But now here's what I don't like about it. It's just one more game to load manage. It's like congratulations NFL, you come one step closer to load managing. And it was the one thing I liked about the NFL over the NBA. You only get to play one day a week and this and that, so you don't see people resting this week. Oh, nah, I had some bad chicken. I think I'm gonna play next week. So it's 14 days you don't get to see your player, depending on the Monday or Tuesday or Saturday or Thursday night game, whatever or what have you. So I don't like it because you people football is bigger than basketball and the other sports because they people literally travel. And I mean, look, some people travel to follow their basketball teams. Good, I get them. 82 times, you get that kind of money. Good for you. NFL, you know what I'm saying? They travel. They want to see their favorite players play, and because there's 17 games, it's close, and because it might be closer to the end of the season, you might see people load managing their 16th game and their 17th game instead of just their 16th game. Um, I think because there's only one bye instead of two, I think people were thinking, or maybe ownership, or maybe whoever the people, because they all collectively bargained on this. So I mean, any player that's complaining about this, they should have spoke up then. So now they gotta suck it. But I think they're thinking the last week is more interesting because there'll probably be a fight for that wild card, that first place spot, which is the bye. But I suspect, without any evidence yet, but I suspect a lot of those first place spots are already be decided. I think a lot of those first place spots will be decided before their 16th game. So I mean, and since there's 7 spots, I mean, I don't know. I just don't see the reasoning behind it. I mean, do I want to see the Buffalo Bills play another week? Yeah, sure, man. Because when the NFL's gone, man, I'm miss it. I'm missing it right now as we are talking to each other. So as far in terms of good idea, bad idea, I guess I gotta go with good idea until it's not. I mean, I don't see too many bad things about it. It's an extra game and more reason to pack the stadium. More maybe a 7th spot. Maybe there's more at stake and. I think a lot of people who buy the tickets at the end of the season should know better. Like, dude, Brady ain't play, Brady might only play a half. So
I mean, I think there's just smarter ways to do it. Imagine, all the playoff teams or all the non-playoff teams have to, put their top 5 players into a little pool, and you have like a Pro Bowl or like some little small tournament on the side for the teams who don't make it into the playoffs. So the best 5 players on each team still get the type of wear and tear that a team going to the playoffs do, or a little bit more. It kind of makes their team not think about tanking, or just there's different ways of I think addressing a fan's wants and needs to having more football than to have the same 22 guys get on the field again before again another playoff run that they're looking to see. So like you said, I think another nail in the coffin there is they might load manage for 16th and 17th game, and I don't like to watch those games. I usually don't watch the 16th game of the season because, like you said, most of the first place the buys and the really important spots in the playoffs are kind of taken by now, and it's really just a toss of the coin who makes it in after the 17th or 16th week, and now the 17th week comes up. It just kind of, I feel like the same issues are going to arise. So like I said, I think it's just counterproductive. If they want to take out, most of the preseason games, because no matter what, no one really watched the preseason games anyway, so taking one preseason game out to put in a regular season game, I think is completely unbalanced. But they've been talking about taking away the preseason for a long time, or players have been asking for it for a long time. But
it's a way to get you behind hurt.
That's what I understand, though. If you think take away 4 preseason games and put 2 regular season games in the end of the season, I can understand that. First two regular season games don't matter as much, maybe. But yeah, that's I don't get the one game in the season.
I don't get it either. I mean, like, look, when they said they were doing a third wild card spot and having 7 teams in the playoffs, that excited me a little bit. I'm like, wow, because there's so many times that we've seen some of these 10-6 teams that were deserving and that had momentum at the end. I'm like, God, I wish I saw them in the playoffs. I remember the Jets, finished strong on a 10-6, but was under Bowles, they didn't get in. I remember Tom Brady got hurt, and like Matt Castle led the Patriots to an 11-5 record, and they didn't get in. So I'm like, man, we want this spot, and I know the Cowboys fans wanted it more than anything because they always found themselves looking on the outside looking in. But what did I tell you? What did I tell you? Even if there wasn't, they still wouldn't qualify for the playoffs.
Yeah, they just don't mix with the winners.
This ain't the week to bash the Cowboys, and before I even
get
started. Oh my God! Look, we jumping off the NFL, and we're gonna jump right into the NCAA March Madness. We're bringing our attention to the men and maybe a little bit the women's game a little bit later. So right now we got 2 teams in. Number 1 seed Baylor punched their ticket, beat a very tough Arkansas team. I had actually Arkansas. I picked Arkansas to make it to the finals, lose to Gonzaga, and I mean they went like 8 minutes without a field goal. So you do that against Baylor, they're gonna burn you, you know. And of course, the number two seed, the team no one's talking about. What about Houston? What about Houston? Houston is for real, man. I mean, they held Syracuse to the fewest points in their NCAA playoff franchise history. So I mean, and Syracuse, who was bombing threes and just running up the score, man, hold on to 46 points. That's you did something. So number two Houston, they're already in. Number one Baylor, they're already in. Tonight, Rob, we got USC versus Gonzaga, and we got UCLA versus Michigan. Um, the question, Rob, is who are the next two teams to punch their ticket into the Final Four? I'd like to go first on this. First, I want to commend the Pac-12 for playing phenomenal basketball like all season round. They're my least favorite conference. They're the most dreaded team. I mean, I live on the West Coast, and I'm still like, when's Duke playing? When's Kentucky playing? When's Syracuse? Yeah, I'm an ACC and Big Ten guy, and of course SEC the way Alabama and Arkansas has been playing. And I'm just like, and someone wants to talk to me about Pac. I'm like, Pac, shut up, you know. And here we are, Oregon State, who was picked dead last to pick to finish dead last in their conference or in the playoffs, made the Elite Eight, right? You got Oregon that went pretty far. You got USC, you got UCLA playing tonight, and it's the first time both programs have made the Final Eight the same year. And have a chance to take it one step further. So I had to give them their props before I say what I'm gonna say next. It's over. Yeah, I mean, it was a nice run. USC. I love USC and I love the way they recruit and I love the talent, but I can't stand their annoying fan base. Yeah, I said it. I live there. I got a guy across the street with a big old flag. USC. USC. Your fan base is equal to the Dallas Cowboys fan base for professional football. So I really, really applaud them making this far, but I think Gonzaga's on a mission. They're gonna get back to the Final Four. Their fifth season in a row that they're gonna make the Final Four. And Michigan, the other team that a lot of people aren't talking about because the Big Ten didn't look as strong. I thought the Illinois were highly overrated, and I thought, momentum wise, they backed into the playoffs, and neither one of us were surprised to see them get eliminated the second round. So, make mine Michigan, make mine Gonzaga, but I do want to highlight this guy Cody Riley, man, who's I don't know if this is a comeback game for him or I never left. 10 points, 4 blocks, 5 rebounds, very very important for UCLA to actually make it to this point. So, congratulations to the Pack, but I think tonight the ride's over.
Yeah, I mean, this time, I think I have to say that I'm probably not going to debate against that. I mean, Michigan was my team from the start. And then, Gonzaga, they just look, pretty unstoppable. But if I were a betting guy, I still think I would probably bet against the Michigan Wolverines on just because, UCLA has been on such a tear. And these tournaments are really predicated on, who gets those ups and downs and who just rides that wave, when when they're on that up. So I think, UCLA is a really dangerous team right now. I would not want to play them. I think Michigan's kind of had not an easy road, but, they've kind of skated under the radar for a bit. And, this is a big test for them. So I'm going to go with, Gonzaga and Michigan as well. But I definitely think that the UCLA and Michigan game is one I'll be watching for sure.
Man, they've been balling, dude. When I saw USC got the sixth seed in their bracket or whatever, I'm like, okay, all right, that was generous. And then, I saw the way they played first round or whatever. Not then I saw the way they played Kansas and the way they just bully. Because you see Kansas have these choke moments or whatever, or these moments where they underachieve, but it's always they drop the ball and they lose by six, and they get dropped here. Dude, they got sweet Jesus, they got worked by USC, man. And then I was like, oh my God, USC is for real, dude. And UCLA, I think I could say the same thing about them too. So, and we cover mostly professional sports, but I think we owed it to ourselves, living in the South Bay to highlight these four teams that just played amazing basketball and put the madness back in the March Madness. So yeah.
True.
Cool, man. And anything you want to chime in on? Because I thought we went in and out of that really quickly. Oh, no. Whoa, 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 whoa. By the time we podcast episode 61, we're going to have an NCAA champion. So, Rob, who wins the whole thing? You still going with Michigan?
I mean, it has to. I have to. But again, if I were a betting man,
Wouldn't be surprised if to see.
I wouldn't be surprised if I would probably go with Houston. I think at this point, just defense, and you got one guy that can score. That really matters in these tournaments. So I would probably put my money on Houston, but Michigan.
Dude, that team
Just because I'm being
nobody's
smart.
talking about, man. That team no one's talking about. Houston, dude. I picked Gonzaga to win the whole thing. I picked Gonzaga to beat Arkansas because I thought Arkansas will be playing the same way Houston's playing right now. And for that same reason, I'm picking Gonzaga to win the whole thing. Probably Houston. I think Houston beats Baylor. I actually think they beat them by a lot. I don't think that's going to be tight at the end. I think both of these South Bay teams are going to be tight with Gonzaga and Michigan. And I think Gonzaga beats Michigan, and Gonzaga is going to be my champ. So we're going to talk about that next week. Maybe some bragging rights, but I'm glad you got conviction. I like that, but I'm glad your objectiveness. You left a little room, like if not Michigan, maybe this team will slip in there. But we stick to the courage of our convictions, and of course that's why we on the show. Mad respect, kid. Come with that same energy next week. All right, hey. This is going to be a short episode, people. Until we start talking about mixed martial arts. Until we start talking about the UFC. And it's like an hour later. Ooh, this is what y'all paid your money for. All right, topic 3, UFC. We have a new baddest man on the planet. Francis Ngannou from Cameroon is now the third African champion in the UFC, with Israel Adesanya originally being from Nigeria, and of course the Nigerian nightmare Kamaru Usman, who by the way was in his corner. 52 seconds into the second round, absolutely starched Stipe Miocic. Stipe Miocic took a lot of punishment, but at the end, one shot too many. Man, did he get caught at the end? I'm gonna give you the floor in a minute because I'd like you to walk the fans like how that knockout happened and what Stipe saw that made him rush in. Blah blah blah. So, first question is your thoughts on the match and how it went. We thought Stipe could win, but we knew Francis Ngannou had that one way he could or would win, and did win. But your thoughts on how the match went, and then we're gonna seam into what's next for Francis Ngannou. The floor is yours, Rob.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was way different than I thought it would have gone. Even though it went how we kind of said it would go. Francis Ngannou. If you say at the end of the fight that Francis Ngannou had the only 2 takedowns, takedown attempts, as well as one takedown in the fight, you be that's a betting man's game right there. So, yeah, when it comes down to that fight, I mean, Francis Ngannou looked like a whole different fighter. That's scary. I mean, I agree with Dana White in a very small particular point that Francis Ngannou looked scary tonight, because if he fights the way that pretty much Kamaru Usman's fighting, where it's like he doesn't have the wrestling, but if you're in the stance to protect, those takedowns, you can still throw off punches from there. And man, he's got unnecessary power.
Just
It was pretty
shakes the
crazy
gods,
because he
dude.
was patient. He really wasn't. There was a difference between the Derek Lewis fight, and the Stipe Miocic fight, where you're not. You don't want to throw, you're scared of the repercussions of throwing. And I think you felt that in both those guys. And it's crazy that they both talk about that, like mentally what they were going through when they were fighting each other for 5 minutes, just staring at each other, ready to throw.
Yeah, you saw a little bit of that, right? Yeah. Strange you said that you cited the Derek Lewis fight because there was a little bit of that. Very good.
But
Yeah.
there was, I felt like it was a complete difference though, in that, it was like steady patience as opposed to, almost, anxiousness. And I think they're very, very close, very similar feelings, but they come from two different places. And he was just ready to throw when he was ready to throw. He hopped on. There was big, long pauses or short pauses between his explosive bursts. But man, when he he tuned up Stipe a couple of times, like where I thought the fight could have definitely turned for the worse,
In the first
and it
round,
didn't.
right?
Yeah,
When he had
right.
like back position and was kind of wailing from
And
behind,
he
like
hit him a
shots
couple
that Stipe
times.
didn't see coming.
That's what I mean.
You how you
He
gonna
hit
roll
him a
with something
couple
you don't see
times.
coming?
Then he was on top of him.
Hmm.
So even both those times in the first round, I thought this fight could, again, easily be finished. Um, and then the second round came, and when Stipe got hurt and then rolled out of the cage and then hit Ngannou with that right hand, with that like kind of retreating right hand. I wouldn't say it stunned Ngannou, but he definitely, it definitely hit him in the right spot. And so Stipe tried to follow that up. And then, that's when he got clocked with the left hook. But man, that was, it was, you could feel the energy the whole time in that fight. And I think the big change was that when Stipe in the first round had that single leg on Francis, and it didn't, Francis knew everything he needed to do to defend against it.
Yeah.
I think Stipe really knew that the fight was different, and if you can't take him down, it's only a matter of time. He's got to take his chances when Francis is not like in the right shape or in the right place. Because Francis, again, patience brings great positioning, and he was in great position to fire both of his hands at all times. He was able to throw a couple leg kicks.
Oh my
I mean,
God.
his positioning was perfect pretty much the whole night. So when he was in that little rampage mode, trying to knock out Stipe, and then he came around with that right hand, I think Stipe just thought this is probably the time, and he hesitated even a little bit. He hit him with the right hand, and he was like, did I get him? And then he tried to go after him.
Good.
And that
Yeah.
left hook was coming.
Smart, right?
And,
He assessed the damage, like
yeah.
right, because I mean,
He's like,
sorry.
I stunned him. I think he's not moving forward no more.
Tell me when it's my
You know,
turn.
you know. But I think again that shows you that the patience that Ngannou had the whole fight.
Yeah.
He got hit. He sunk right back into a position to be able to defend himself. And that was giving him plenty of time to, set up that left hook. And man, if he plants any punch on you in the right place, that's good night. And that's pretty much what happened with Stipe. And he still was able to get that huge, hammer fist down after he completely knocked out Stipe. But yeah, what a fight. I mean, honestly, it was a very high level heavyweight fight. I feel like as a high level heavyweight fight goes, third round, fourth round max. I think that's usually what should happen. I don't think there should ever be a heavyweight fight that goes decision. I really don't.
Not if they get after it like that, you know?
You know,
Cool, man. Rob, very, very well said because it's given me less to say. So I will steer it a different direction as I start my little, hopefully not too long, soliloquy. Baddest man on the planet. All right. There was a sense of elation, but also a sigh of relief on Ngannou's part when he won the title because he lost this fight the first time they fought and a fight that he thought he'd win by a landslide. And and no matter how much you train on takedown defense and no matter how much you train on takedowns, which surprised the hell out of all of us, right? It's like when I saw him do him do a takedown, and when I saw him reverse the takedown and hit him with back shots, I was like, okay, I just called this match wrong, and it's probably gonna end now, this round, round one,
right
but
now.
there was a sigh of relief, and you were really really sad for Stipe. Why? I mean, for the people who follow him, I was sad for Stipe because the title reign's done, but when you saw Ngannou's face, you couldn't help but be happy for him. He was the happiest man in the world, okay? The second happiest man in the world that might rival his happiness was Dana White. Listen, boxers The heavyweight champion, boxing champion, was always referred to as the baddest man on the planet until mixed martial arts happened. Okay, until someone that can hold a boxer down and make a boxer scream and cry and scream, "I want to bang! Let's stand up and bang!" Whatever that means. Um, Dana White is happy because when you hear the term "baddest man on the planet," you're not as scared of Stipe as you are Francis Ngannou, right? Stipe, you send your kids, take a picture, hey, go get his autograph, and Stipe looks friendly, all right? I'm gonna send my kid to get an autograph from Francis Ngannou. She's gonna do you, what? I'm giving away my age, but I grew up in a timeline where your mother would tell you if you don't eat your vegetables, I'm George Foreman's coming to get you. And then you, and you start eating your vegetables as fast as you can. You licking your plate. Clubber Lang, even fiction, Clubber Lang, like Rocky 3, Mr. T. I had nightmares of Mr. T coming to F me up because these were guys that didn't have so much muscle where they couldn't chase me down. Because I'm not scared of big dudes because they can't catch me. But now I think Francis Ngannou can catch me. I'm afraid. So that stigma that comes with being associated with the baddest man on the planet, it probably in Dana's vision is more marketable. I'm not saying he's glad Stipe lost. I think him and Stipe, they warred a little bit, but I think they cool now. Stipe got his contract. He got the money he deserved. I mean, even the Modelo Bear commercial said he deserved his shine, and now it's Francis Ngannou's turn. And Dana is so happy because the guy is so nice, and he's so scary, and he's so marketable, and he's got something every baddest man on the planet should have: a shot. One shot that can shake the gods. One shot that can sleep the gods. His right cross is equivalent to being hit by a Ford Escort. This is science, my man. This is a scientific comparison that even if it fails, even if it's close enough, it's scary as hell. So I'm happy for Ngannou because even though they thought the pressure was on Stipe to defend his title, no, the pressure was on Ngannou. You know why? Because Ngannou, if he lost this match, that's twice. And where does he go? Right? There's no super heavyweight division in the UFC. That man, it is not you know where I'm going. It is not you can start laughing because he ain't gonna suck down to 205, right? So all of this pressure on him, and he gets his second shot. Worked back to it, right? He had a loss by Derek Lewis, but literally knocked out everybody else. By the way, people, everybody listening, the man has 100% finish rate in all of his wins. He has 15 wins, but all 15 of his wins are finish. A lot of them first round knockouts. Stipe, the champion, ate a ton of damage that we thought he wasn't able to eat. I'm very, very surprised. I'm also very surprised at Francis Ngannou's chin too, because when he came in at Stipe cracked him one. Stipe cracked him one, and Stipe thought he had him, and Francis Ngannou said it did hurt, but not where I didn't see him coming, and dropped him with that left cross. And the last shot was really not necessary, but the ref got to get in there, and Herb Dean literally dived in there and saved everybody's career. So yeah, that's what I got from the match. Now the $64,000 question: what is next for Stipe Miocic? What is next for Francis Ngannou? I say it has to be John Jones. Both of them cleaned out the division, and like Alexander the Great, he wept because there are no worlds left to conquer. There's only one person left in this equation. John Jones has been training for months. In fact, I saw him weigh in at like 242, close to 245. He is swole up. He looks like Anthony Rumble Johnson on steroids, and Anthony Rumble Johnson already looked big as it is. It has to be John Jones. And I'm going to give you the floor on your opinion on that. But before I do, I want to say that I know there's going to be money disputes about this, and I know Dana is going to use the media as a punk card, or social media as a punk card for John Jones. John Jones is going to want more money for moving up and fighting a guy who's bigger than him. It's his first heavyweight match, and Dana's going to probably stall him on some of that money, and I think he's probably going to put out on social media, John doesn't want this fight. And then all of the haters are gonna come and be like, "Oh, John's a puss. Oh, he wanted to fight Stipe, but now that Ngannou won, he doesn't want to fight and this and that." So, I just want to eliminate that excuse. The floor is yours. Tell me if you agree with me as far as what's next for Francis Ngannou as a champion.
Honestly, I would love to see Derek Lewis versus Ngannou.
I'm a
Before I'd
purist.
like to see,
That's what
right?
I want to see. That's what I
I
want
want
to
to see
see.
that
I mean,
because
what we're gonna see.
I think the
Yeah.
man.
Hmm.
I just think he needs to right his wrongs. I think you know Derek Lewis has been improved as well, but he hasn't really gotten his shots. He got his shot against DC, which is kind of just like a completely unfair like fight
He was caught on some not ready
matchup.
stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's just like it's kind of unfair for him, but I think it would be a great in between fight. Or even Derek Lewis versus John Jones. I think that would be a nice little stepping stool because the only way to really say that you're ready for Ngannou is to take out one of the people that were his weaknesses.
Hmm.
So I think that would be a great stepping stool. But regardless, what happens after if Jones does fight Ngannou, you know whoever is the second guy in the division, that's like the hardest place to be right now is second place, or interim or ready, what's it, a contender for the title for heavyweight, because man, there are so many guys right now that you do not want to face. I mean, starting off with Derek Lewis, then you got Rosenstruck. I mean,
Yeah.
you have a ton of guys up there that are ready to fight.
Yeah.
And
Savages, man. The
yeah,
top
so
five.
John
Alexander,
Jones has got
much
a rough
improved
road.
Alexander Volkov. I mean, I remember he
Hmm.
fought Derek Lewis. That was a fight he was up 2-0 before he got caught. And I mean, everyone thinks Volkov is undeserving because he got caught, but that is the heavyweight division. People get caught. This is
People
this is
get
why.
caught.
Who the hell has a consecutive fight winning streak in the heavyweight division? You don't, because people get caught. So,
Yeah,
but I'm with you. Who I want to see as a purist, I want to see that rematch with Lewis. I think Lewis
yeah.
deserves it too. I mean, he's got his finish rate is just as good, almost as good. And in fact, the last time I checked, Derek Lewis won the last time they fought. So that's something, like you said, as far as righting a wrong for Ngannou,
Hmm.
maybe he would want that too. Lastly, if you asked me who would win between Jones and Ngannou before this, I would have said Jones because he's adding on the weight and the muscle, and his wrestling is far superior than Stipe Miocic, and even rivals in many ways Daniel Cormier's wrestling. So, but now that I've seen this guy sprawl, now that I've seen this guy reverse, now that I've seen this guy sweep, now that I've seen this guy score takedowns himself,
I know. Head
oh,
kicks.
just leave the screen, dude. See my head? Boom. Left the screen, dude, because I'm trying not to get it knocked off by this dude who can now catch up to me and take me down. So, cool. Hey, that's it. That's all I got for UFC. Is there anything you wanted to say before we left the main event? Because we're definitely going to talk about the other. We're going to repair on repair and replace on quick questions. So, but for this
Sure.
main event, something else you want to say about that?
No, I mean, I thought it was a great main event.
Hmm.
I thought there was a lot of really, really good fights.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was really happy with it. It wasn't like star-studded, but I
Nah.
was really happy with
They
it.
lost a lot of matches, but the top three
Right,
didn't disappoint him. I mean, Vincent Luque, we definitely got to talk about him, man. I mean,
right.
somewhere,
And
you
then
know.
that Von Flute choke on the last of the prelims, that was dirty, man.
Ooh. Tyron's never lost by submission too, so that was pretty unique too. He's never, he's got some losses and he's got 4 in a row, but he's never said uncle before. The guy's not.
But yeah, I mean, they were talking about it too. Like while the fight was going on, like he's in a very dangerous position. He's not defending himself, so
Nope.
he should know better.
Oh my goodness. All right, so that's MMA. That's the UFC. That's 260. We don't have another one till April 10th, so we're not going to really talk about that. But we'll definitely repair some on quick question. But for now, my favorite topic is, ladies and gentlemen, I give you to shame or not to shame.
Shame. Shame. Shame. Shame. Shame.
Okay, Robbie, let's do that. This is me. This is you. Rob, to shame or not to shame, the Nets have signed Aldridge, Lamarcus Aldridge. Shame or no shame, the Nets stacking the deck to win the championship.
I mean, shame, man. I mean, where is the respect nowadays? I mean, you got Blake Griffin and you got LaMarcus Aldridge. Like, it's just crazy to me that first of all that a team is capable of doing that. Like, what's up with the salary cap nowadays? How do you have legitimate five superstars on a team? And that's just fresh because they got bought out in the market. Like, that's just pretty crazy. And talking about the layout of the league, and then even to Drummond going to the Lakers. That's crazy to me. I mean, I think it's shame on all these teams because they're picking up all-star caliber players at the end of the season. I think that's just it's kind of like that's why the NFL doesn't allow that stuff too. As a trade deadline is a certain end of the year. You got to go with the team you have. So sorry for taking all the time, but yeah, shame for me.
I'm gonna wait for the horn to honk for Rob McLean, and Rob gets to see my hat. Where are we? Rob
Hey,
McLean.
still a Knick fan,
Look,
baby.
I gotta go. No shame. You know why? Because everybody talked about how Blake Griffin sucked, and now all of a sudden he goes to this team. They're like, "Oh, it's not fair. He's got this guy, Lamarcus Aldridge. Oh, long of the tooth. He's at the end of his career. He should just retire. He joins in this. Oh, wait. Oh my God, cry me a river. Okay, the Brooklyn Nets. If you were gonna cry shame, if I was gonna cry shame, I would have cried shame when they got James Harden because for me, I switch hats. I turned on my Knicks card, put the BK back in Brooklyn when I put this hat on because I liked Kyrie Irving and I like Kevin Durant. So if I was gonna say shame on you, shame a fool, it was when they made that weak sauce move by getting Harden because that overstacks the deck. But really, I mean, I think Blake Griffin's a body. I think Aldridge is going to give him some rebounds, and I don't even know who. Like Rob,
Come
before I
on,
go
man.
even further, do they have DeAndre Jordan already as center?
Yeah, but he
Remind
can't
me.
shoot a free throw, so he's not going to be at all available for any of the fourth quarter, pretty much.
Okay.
And the basically the fact is that these guys basically underperformed so that they could do this, where they could buy themselves out of a contract,
Hmm.
and what they do is they get another contract from another team, and they're getting paid double money. And that's so you're basically double dipping, and then you're trying to buy yourself out for a championship. Um,
I gotta get with their agent, man.
I hear you. Well, the thing is it's these teams that make these ridiculous contracts that offer these guys crazy amounts of money, and then other teams don't want to buy, like they don't want to trade for them, so they make themselves untradeable. It's just it's unfortunate, and what really stinks is that no other teams really have a chance. Like I'm not. There's no way I'm going to put money on the Bucks. There's no way I'm going to put money on the Heat. There's no way I'm going to put money on any team outside the league other than the Nets and the Lakers. So at the end of the day, it's kind of just like, all right, well, we'll wait to see the finals. It was kind of like with the with Cleveland Cavaliers and the Golden State Warriors a couple years ago. Like everybody knew no one's going to beat those two teams. That's it. It's just going to be those two teams against each other, and eventually it's going to be somebody else, I guess. But yeah, hopefully this team doesn't last farther than this year. And I have to disagree with you though. With getting Harden, that's like a full three superstar team. That's a team that can stay together. I understand that they did it for a reason. They really shared the ball well together. When you get talking about Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge there as well, like I said, I don't know how a team salary cap can even afford that. But on top of it, you have that's an all-star team. That's an all-star team on the floor. I don't care what age they are. Blake Griffin, LaMarcus Aldridge, Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving. That is an all-star team on the floor. That is not good for the NBA. That's the truth. I
Oh
mean,
my God.
DeAndre Jordan. That's as a sixth man. That's a freaking all-star team.
I think I should be ashamed of myself saying no shame. I think you're trying to shame me into saying no shame.
I mean, let's look at the Lakers though. Just be all honest. I know it's a quick question,
No,
but
go ahead.
you know, I mean, it's shame, no shame, but the look at the Lakers. You got Andre Drummond on the best day. Andre Drummond, Anthony Davis, LeBron James. Right? Who else they got there?
I
Like
guess
nobody's
Kyle
gonna go to an
Kuzma,
All
who
Star
didn't
game.
take a shot he didn't like.
Nobody there. Nobody else there is gonna go to an NBA All Star game. I'm sorry,
That's
it's
true.
not happening unless it's the dunk contest or it's the
Yeah.
rookie sophomore game. Like nobody on that team. KCP's not going to an All Star game. Like Marc Gasol ain't going to an All Star game. Dennis Schroeder ain't going to an All Star game. Like it's just different levels. I'm sorry, it's different levels. You got 5 guys that can make their own shot. That's ridiculous. 5.
Yeah, when the finals come, LeBron gonna feel like he by himself, like that last
Oh.
Cleveland game. Remember that last Cleveland game, series where he scored
With J.R.
50 and
Smith
then
and
J.R. decided to
Oh
just
my!
run, dribble,
You know what?
run around
I'm
with the
over
ball.
this.
Well, that concludes to shame or not to shame. Our next category, ladies and gentlemen, is quick question. Quick question. La la. Rob, quick question. Drummond signs with the Lakers. Thumbs up or thumbs down?
Thumbs up. I mean, that's fantastic.
Thumbs
But
up.
I don't know if it's going to keep up with the Nets.
Thumbs up. Quick question, Rob. Who should be next for Sugar Shane O'Malley, who knocked out Thomas Almeida? I think is good. I know he's on a losing streak, but that dude was 20-0 when I saw him before he got starched. by
That fight
Kobe.
was pretty
Yeah.
underwhelming, but
Yeah, I know it happens like that. But who's
I
next for
think
Sugar?
Dominic Cruz, yeah, or like a Jimmy Rivera. But like we were saying, I think maybe some of them old dogs need to prove their place.
I like Pedro Munoz or Jimmy Rivera. Cool.
I agree
But
with that.
since Dominic Cruz actually called him out, I mean, Dana is always a fan of giving people what they want, right? 2 people want to fight each other. Who the hell is he to get in the way? Quick question. This should be fast. All right? I got to suck it up. Is it time for Tyron Woodley to hang it up?
I don't think it's time for him to hang it up, but and I think it's crazy that the UFC does this nowadays. But I do think that they're going to release him sometime soon and let him go to other places. But I don't think it's time for him to hang it up. I think that was the best I think I've seen of him in the last 5 fights.
I think he should, because I don't think he really wants to fight. I think even when he was the champ, I think he took matches that because he had to. There was
Yeah.
no one that got him up to fight except for Kobe Covington, and that was the single biggest disappointment. Since Lewis versus Ngannou. Quick question: the Niners acquired the number 3 overall pick, and say they're going to draft a quarterback. Are they looking to replace Jimmy G right away? Yes or no?
No, I think there's going to be a short-term lease on Jimmy G. They're going to try to win a Super Bowl this year with him and train the quarterback how to win a Super Bowl. And yeah, I think it's a fantastic move. They keep a quarterback in there that doesn't necessarily need to start right away, and that would be great for them.
I'd say Jimmy G, when healthy, can get you to another Super Bowl. I mean, he almost beat the Kansas City Chiefs. He overthrew that guy, which would ice the game. And maybe the coaching staff and general management is pulling a head fake on everybody for the number 3 pick, because outside of Trevor Lawrence, you really want to try to get that wide receiver who from Alabama, who probably is going to go to the Jets. So maybe I'm guessing if the Jets drop the ball on our wideout, and you remember his name from Alabama, if they drop the ball on him, I bet you they're gonna pick up the wideout.
Man, I'm telling you, I think the Jets are still looking to shop that pick, but I think they're going to take a quarterback. I think they're going to take Zach Wilson, and I think the San Francisco
the Niners
49ers
have to pick this dude. They have to.
Well, they're gonna pick a quarterback. They're gonna pick a quarterback, and I think they're gonna pick, between Trey Lance. Honestly, I think it could even be Mac Jones. Because it kind of goes with some more of the skill sets of what they have. But I think there's 4 quarterbacks in play at the second pick. I really do think that there's a lot of really good prospects. Even past, I think Trevor Lawrence is possibly not going number 1 overall. I think there are some really good prospects out there. You have to kind of look at things sometimes, especially with the Baker Mayfield draft last year, a couple of years ago,
I,
with the Patrick Mahomes, who going in the 15th, but yet he's clearly the best player that's come out of
yeah.
the draft in probably the last 10 years.
I think
Yeah, it's hard.
because it's Urban Meyer, I have a hard time seeing them not picking Trevor. But but like you said, you never can tell.
Some players, man,
Yep.
like Deshaun Watson looked like the cleanest prospect out of college, yet he goes 10, 11 overall, and
It's
he's one of the
ridiculous.
best quarterbacks in the league. So
Ridiculous.
it's
Yep.
you just got to have to look at the things that either are successful for your program or that you think is going to be making the best. So
Quick question: John Mara said that the Giants can win the Super Bowl with Daniel Jones. I quote: "I say this without hesitation." Rob, quick question: Can the Giants win a Super Bowl with Daniel Jones?
I don't know.
Yes or no? Yes or no? Damn it!
Yeah, I think they can, but
I gotta say no.
I still wouldn't, without hesitation, say that.
Right.
That's pretty outlandish.
I gotta say no. Quick question: Do the Jazz or Suns have a shot at making the Western Conference Finals?
Oh, absolutely, one of the
Yeah.
two for sure.
Because I figure in order for one of those two to make it, they have to beat the Lakers or the Clippers, right? So,
Yeah.
all right. Quick question. I agree. I think the Jazz will. I don't know.
I think one of them.
Yeah,
one
we
of the
don't see
two
both
will.
of them playing each other in in the Western Conference Finals, but I think one of them do.
Yeah.
Quick question. Watkins signs with the Ravens. Can he be a number one wideout for the Ravens? Yes or no?
Yeah, I think it's just a tough signing because again, he has injury concerns and he has all through his college career into his pro career. So if he could stay healthy along with everybody else on that wide receiver core, I think on paper with experience, he's probably their number one wideout. Yeah.
I gotta go. No, I don't think he's their answer for a number one wideout. Quick question. This is the last one. No. Quick question. Mike Woodson reaches out to Larry Brown, offering him an assistant coaching position that he doesn't have to recruit. It's just on campus and coaching. Should Brown take the job?
Yeah, I think he should stay involved with the sport as much as he can.
Absolutely. He's one of the best coaches in the history of basketball. That's what Popovich says. Everybody who are pupils under him or Jedi's under him. Of course, Mike Woodson's doing the right thing. It would be basketball malpractice for him not to reach out, whether he says yes or no. But I think Brown should take it because it doesn't involve recruiting. If it's just basketball, I mean, that's a coach's dream job. What? I don't have to go after kids. Quick question. And we can go longer on this. Did the Baylor women's basketball team get robbed last night in the UConn game?
Well, I don't think they got robbed. I think it was a foul, which would put the emphasis yet again on making the foul shots, defending the ball all the way down the court, and then having that team not make a shot, which again, UConn was on fire the whole time. But yeah, I think, especially in those plays, and somebody was saying this again, sorry, it's a quick question, but they got fouled early in that game as well. There was other fouls that maybe weren't called, and I know it was the last second of the game, but that doesn't make it as important or less important than the other plays earlier in the game. So, not all fouls get called. I think at the end of the game, a lot of referees like to play I'm not going to affect the game. You have to make the bucket kind of calls. So I've seen it a lot, and I think it was probably the right play.
I'd say they got robbed. And I know on a general level, people like to say, oh, one play doesn't decide the game. All of these other plays that you could have got here, that you could have got there. And I say sometimes at the end, when both teams make mistakes and when both teams do something really, really well, when a team had a 19-point lead and blows a 19-point lead, and then it's back and forth, sometimes it does come down to one play, and sometimes that play should not be decided by the refs. But with that being said, for the egregious ones, I think the ref has to do their job on this one. Here's a picture of it, actually. There's a still shot. That is just, I mean, they're just making out right now, man.
I mean, that's a tough still shot because, yet again, she when she goes up for her shot, she goes up very awkwardly. It almost looks like she's going up because she realizes that she has two in her face. She's going up, in desperation. And again, in that point, you know, a lot of refs don't call that. You have to kind of go up in a lot more clean, a lot more textbook fashion to get those types of calls. So again, I hear the still shot, and I know the situation that was being called, but as a smaller guard, and this is just basketball, as a smaller guard going against big trees in the paint, like their job is to stand up tall over you with two hands up. When they do that, they get more, help from the refs, as opposed to somebody that's jumping off one leg or two legs to try to go up and swat the ball. So, at the end of the day, it is tough, but that's the way that the game is kind of being refereed. I think that women's refs the women's basketball refs do a lot better job of keeping an eye on the game than maybe sometimes the guys basketball does.
100%. I'm going to show a picture because the ref that actually has the best view is like right there. Because I was wondering if like some of the refs had a front or a back shot, and some from the front of the back, it looks like it's not a foul. It looks like the girl's just not leaving her feet. And I still don't think the girl left her feet. I just thought she stayed on her feet and was moving a little bit forward. And if there's contact, and if you're not sure who to call a foul on, sometimes you got to let it go. So I understand why, but I think I doubled down. I think that probably should have been called. I think she was trying to.
No, I agree. Like if
yeah, it altered the shot. The contact altered the shot. So.
Well, I don't even think that was the point. I think it was just that, like you said, when you're talking about the rule base, once a player starts breaking that vertical plane and she starts reaching into it, which she clearly does, that's where I would say the foul is called. I just say when you're talking about, the total understanding of the game, like when somebody jumps awkwardly, that kind of takes away from the referees being able to call them the foul.
No doubt.
When you have two girls, like you're saying, coming at you, I mean, there's very few players that actually want to take that shot because most of the time it gets blocked. So as a referee, they're thinking they're probably not even going to be, a shot's not even going to get up in the first place, So I just think it's, those situations that kind of change that call as opposed to technically is every single foul called the right way every single time. Yeah. No, but these are I think the things that go through referees' heads sometimes is, you're putting yourself in a precarious situation. I'm not going to get you out of it by using my whistle.
Big up to the head coach to UConn, because I followed them long enough where he's been the victim on games decided by non-foul calls or whatever. And when he goes to the press box, you never hear him talk about you. You never hear him say one complaining word. He said, that's part of the game. We put ourselves in that situation and they call it or they don't. And he's just like, the referees called what they call. So even the games he loses, like he calls that. So he's certainly not going to be like, oh, that they deserved a win or anything like that. And by the way, the lead was 2, right? I mean, even if she draws the contact, there's no guarantee she's going to make both free throws. I don't think either team shot from the free throw line particularly well for the series. Baylor certainly didn't at the end. So, and even then, it's just a tie. So no, I don't think anyone got. I mean, yeah, they got robbed on the call, but not robbed on the win. I mean, right. I mean, if anyone knows about getting robbed and not getting robbed, it's my boy Rob. Keep it McLean. And that concludes Quick Question, ladies and gentlemen. But before we go, we have one more week to salute a particular woman. This week, Rob, I'm gonna go small school, because we spent a lot of weeks talking about iconic people. And there's certain people whose performance on the court or on the field or off the field of the court, their philanthropy is well documented and their performance is well documented. But I think we can find plenty of women whose play inspires the masses, right? And it inspires them to do well. But sometimes I get a little sick of talking about people who are being praised for what they do for themselves. So I mean, I'm trying to balance it out without trying to cast any aspersions on people who are trying to get there. So I bring your attention, my woman of the week is for Women's History Month, small school, Upper East Side, Manhattan, New York, Hunter College on 68th and Lexington. The athletic director is Terry Wansart. A longtime female volleyball coach there, absolute savage, beat 5 top 10 ranked teams in Division III, beat Stony Brook, who later, is now Division I, in 5 sets, beat NYU, and they're ranked number 2, beat Ithaca. She, as far as giving people opportunities, coaches opportunities, she was the pioneer. She was one of the first people to hire a female head coach for the men's volleyball team. You know what I'm saying? And from there, I mean, that was Lauren Catchier. And from there, it was like April Jonas. And of course, Chi DiMaggio. Her and I helped build City Tech. Jackie Meadow, women's basketball team, later became the AD at City College, who also started paying it forward, giving, other women like Krishna Das their opportunities. So let's not forget Justin's wife, right? Allison, ex-wife, Allison Gunther Stack. So right now, the current coach at City College, the men's team, is a woman, and she won Coach of the Year last year, or before pre-pandemic. So I really got to give it to this woman that gives a women opportunity that can do the job just as well as men, and also even making not popular decisions for the sake of putting student ahead of the student athlete. When we first met each other, she did not like me. I do not like her. She probably still does not like me. I'm too old. I'm over not liking and liking people, but for the sake of us doing our job here, I don't let my love or discontempt affect my critical thinking skills. We have a job to do here, right? We don't have a set of rules for people we like and people we don't. I got to keep it real. Terry Wansart, you're my woman of the week. Hunter College.
Yeah, so I don't have any woman in particular. I just think I just wanted to give a shout out to all the women that are starting to break into professional sports, kind of like we were talking about last week with Becky Hammond, and then with these female referees in football. I just think it's great because, again, we talk about the African-American disparity in head coaches or in, especially in sports, because there's not a lot of women's professional sports that, are dominant. Even still women's sports have plenty of men's head coaches. But just the disparity in women's head coaches. And I know there's, just from playing sports my whole life, there is a ton of beautiful, of amazing coaches that are, that do amazing things on the field, on and off the field. And, you never see them at the pro ranks. You never see them in executive roles. So it's amazing to see that they're starting to break through. Getting at least into coaching roles, and hopefully it goes into more executive as well. But I just, I'm glad to see that, things are changing just a little bit. Because I know, again, through all my time in sports, that women have been amazing coaches to me, probably sometimes more impactful than a lot of the men's coaches. And,
yeah, like a lot of our mentors, right? In our wheelhouse were women.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I'm love that it's getting paid forward just a little bit. And I hope to see, more of that in the future, that, women can also step up and be coaches as well and do just as great things in both sides of the sports, not just women's sports, but men's sports as well. So.
Yep. Big up, man. Hey, that's it, man. Pretty cool. I had Travis Meerwitter on last week talking about why we play, like the people who are in the qualifier. Like I like what he said. There's something that's be said about showing up. You show up and you win or lose. You show up, you lose. You show up, you triumph. But the point is, he showed up, and he said it's really easy for people on the outside to talk about why people should be there and shouldn't. And I really liked what he said. And for everybody who listens to both the Option podcast and this, that was Travis last week. Tomorrow I got Chrissy Jones. And Thursday, I got Matt Olson, Matty O, two-time AVP champ. So you guys tune in for that. So, Rob, anything you want to say before we leave? We were ahead. Now we behind. Freaking MMA. Go ahead.
That's it. Just stay happy, stay safe.
Stay happy, stay safe? Is that what you just said? That's all I got, man. For all of you at home, that's Rob. Keep it. McLean, I'm Jason DeBias. You know who you are. We know who you are. I love you to pieces. We're out. Come check out the Option Podcast on OptionVB.com. It's also available on iTunes and Spotify and on YouTube under the NY Varsity Sports handle. You're going to love what you hear.